You know, my dad used to teach, if you're thorough, you can't be denied. That's what he would say. Now, having said that, that can be a cliche or that can be a reality. It depends on how much you want to put into that thought process. So, yeah, there were times I was greatly discouraged because I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. And growing up, I didn't know anyone involved with television. The only person I knew involved with television was this man, Mr. McKnight, that used to come to the house when our TV went out. That's a guy that I knew in television who would repair them. That's it.
Nice. Just for the journey that we've talked about so far, were there any barriers that you felt, whether it was from being from Pittsburgh and not from LA, or the color of your skin, or anything that was making it even harder, where you just said, you know what? It doesn't matter as long as I work hard and as long as I make sure I don't give anybody the opportunity to say no to me.
Yeah, you know, my dad used to teach, if you're thorough, you can't be denied. That's what he would say. Now, having said that, that can be a cliche or that can be a reality. It depends on how much you want to put into that thought process. So, yeah, there were times I was greatly discouraged because I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. And growing up, I didn't know anyone involved with television. The only person I knew involved with television was this man, Mr. McKnight, that used to come to the house when our TV went out. That's a guy that I knew in television who would repair them. That's it.
Nice.
And even when I got into college and I was telling people I was interning at different TV stations and the whole thing like that, they thought I was talking about what he did, repairing TVs, not working and telling stories as an editor. And for years, my mom introduced me as a writer, a producer. She didn't understand what I did as an editor. So yeah, I mean, the whole idea of this dot on the map where I started from to where I am was oftentimes a very lonely journey. So I chose to not really pity myself, but look at it as one of pioneering and helping to create a path for people that may come behind me. Now, I didn't do this all by myself. I had a lot of mentors along the way, and I should have mentioned more of them who just took a keen understanding and recognizing that I was dedicated, I had some talent, I had a drive, and that they would help me get to the next place. And it was very discouraging. Those 6 years where I paid union dues and I would go to events and I wouldn't see hardly any African-American people. And I just would feel so lonely in those rooms because I was up and coming. I didn't have credits that they could recognize from me. And it was really brutal. Even now, I mean, I don't want to make that seem like a thing of the past. We're talking about 1%. I don't want to make it seem like that's a thing of the past. We're talking about 1% of our over 8,000 member Motion Picture Editors Guild being of African American descent. And that includes all the different classifications: sound editors, picture editors, mixers, the whole thing. And so it's been tough, but that's my life. That's what's been put in front of me. And so I welcome the opportunity to be a shining example when I'm where I can for other people that are just, traditionally not on the Hollywood track. I didn't grow up with anybody that I knew in this business at all. And it has been difficult. And I have to tell you, I don't really have one horror story or a series of horror stories about being called out on my name or anything like that. I'll tell you the more stories that are a little bit more interesting to me, that when we have common group lunches and a lot of the people that I work with, non-Black or whatever, maybe sometimes our conversation will veer off on a cross-country drive to go, you name it, just some cross-country drive to go out to the Dakotas to see Mount Rushmore. Let's just say that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. As an African American, there's a lot of hostile places that I would be subject to traveling through. And it's kind of like, the movie Green Book, which is what Green Book represents, although the movie didn't illustrate that part of it. But there were these towns traditionally called sundown towns where Black people, you could not be there by the time the sun goes down, or it was just going to be hell to pay. So I think about things like that, where I don't think my counterparts have ever considered that. They might consider, well, the worst that can happen for me maybe is the engine goes out, the tire blows, I get a speeding ticket. I think about all those things. And in addition to that, being African American out on a lonely highway with my family, vulnerable to law enforcement or some crazies or some bigoted person or something like that. So those are the kinds of things. But as it relates to the industry, yeah, I'm right now going 1,000% hard to see to it that I can bring other people along. Who traditionally have had to work really twice as hard, and they've not been in recognition of an opportunity.